Animated series as a whole have been a backbone of television for decades, and when a really good one comes out, it changes how you look at animated series as a whole. Look at something like Steven Universe, RWBY, Infinity Train, Phineas and Ferb, DuckTales, and so on. They've all impacted the world as grand showings of what it means to be a great animated series. And without a doubt, you can add Avatar: The Last Airbender to that list, as it was a show that dared to be big, bold, deep, and profound. Now the universe of Avatar is expanding in a mighty way, and that could lead to a lot of potential stories. So allow us to show you Avatar Studios' top new avatars awaiting to come. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 5. How they brought it back. As you all hopefully know, the universe of Avatar: The Last Airbender started with a 3-season animated series, then expanded into comics, and then came the sequel series The Legend of Korra, which lasted 4 seasons, and even more comics. But outside of comics, since Korra ended, there hasn't been a true advancement of the series. Until this year at least. In February, Nickelodeon dropped a bombshell that would set up the Avatar universe for a long time. Nickelodeon today announced the launch of Avatar Studios, a newly formed division designed to create original content spanning animated series and movies based on the beloved world of Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. Original creators and executive producers Michael DiMartino and Brian Konietzko will helm the studio as co-chief creative officers, reporting to the president of Nickelodeon Animation, Ramsey Naito. The first project from Avatar Studios is slated as an animated theatrical film set to begin production this year. Avatar: The Last Airbender and Korra have grown at least tenfold in popularity since their original hit runs on Nickelodeon. And Ramsey Naito and I are incredibly excited to have Mike and Brian's genius talent on board to helm a studio devoted to expanding their characters and world into new content and formats for fans everywhere, said Brian Robbins, president Viacom CBS Kids and Family. Creator-driven stories and characters have long been the hallmarks of Nickelodeon, and Avatar Studios is a way to give Mike and Brian the resources and runway to open up their imaginations even more and dive deeper into the action and mythology of Avatar as we simultaneously expand upon that world. It's hard to believe it's been 19 years since we created Avatar: The Last Airbender. But even after all that time, there are still many stories and time periods in Aang's world that we are eager to bring to life. We are fortunate to have an ever-growing community of passionate fans that enjoy exploring the Avatar-verse as much as we do. And with this new Avatar Studios venture, we have unparalleled opportunity to develop our franchise and its storytelling on a vast scale in myriad exciting ways and mediums. We are exceedingly grateful to Brian Robbins and Ramsey Naito for their enthusiasm and respect for the Avatar property and us as its stewards. From the start, they've supported our ambitious plans and created a positive, proactive environment for us. We're excited to be back at Nickelodeon where Avatar began, doing what we do best in the biggest way possible. We can't wait to build the great teams and productions to make all of this fantasy a reality, said Brian Konietzko and Michael DiMartino. Number 4. Just how deep will this go? So hearing a press announcement like that is invigorating in many ways if you're an Avatar fan. But the question remains, just how big are they honestly gonna take it? Because saying that they're going to expand it in a press release is one thing, but doing it for real? That's another. The creators of the Avatar universe dropped onto a podcast featuring 2 of the voice actors behind TLA and Korra, and had some interesting things to reveal in terms of the scope of what they're planning. Konietzko says that he and DiMartino have a very ambitious, multi-tiered plan to dig into this big, rich, largely untapped history and future in the Avatar world. Later, he followed up by saying that each of these projects has its own feeling, its own tone and look, so it will all feel true to the Avatar world, but they'll all be very different expressions of it, so it will really deepen it and expand it. DiMartino added, "We're coming in now, and we have unprecedented support from Nickelodeon. So it is the franchise, the shows and animated stuff, but also other stuff beyond in publishing and in podcasts like you're doing and all that stuff. We have all the ideas, and ideally we're going to get to, over the years, explore all of them and get to make them, but it will take some time. If we make all this stuff, you guys will just be podcasting for about the next 20 years or so. Whether that's true or not will have to be seen, but it is reason for hope. Of course, then the question is, if they're expanding the Avatar universe, who will be the Avatar?" Number 3. Earth. The most logical choice in certain respects is to continue the line of the Avatar. By that we mean that, technically speaking, the Avatar universe started out with Roku, then went to Aang, and then to Korra. So that means there is an Earth Avatar on the way next should another series in the current timeline be made. This is a good basis of a story because after the events of Korra, the world is not the same. Spirits live everywhere, more or less. The Earth Kingdom is now divided, the Airbenders are back in greater numbers, and so on and so forth. Given the time between Korra and this potential new series, that would give the team all the reason to go and make this as grand as possible so that they can re-show the world of Avatar and bring in new fans as well as old ones. But that's not the only path they could go if they wanted. Number 2. After Wan. The Legend of Korra is a very curious thing overall, because while fans were very happy to have more Avatar in their lives, the series as a whole didn't live up to the hype in certain aspects, especially when it came to the much-maligned second season. Part of that season was the revelation of the first Avatar, Wan, and how he got to wield all the elements. His arrival was controversial to say the least, and while many fans didn't like his story, the potential to show what came after is there should the creators want it. The reason we say that is, if you remember what happened in Wan's time, you'll know that what was then isn't what we got when it came to the last Airbender in terms of the people, the benders, and so on. There is a lot that can be touched upon to show just how the world came to be what we knew it to be by TLA. And if you recall the Temple of the Avatars, where all the statues were that honored them, you know that there were dozens, if not hundreds of avatars that could be tapped in order to tell stories. They said they want to expand things. The past is a perfect place to expand them. Number 1. Bridging the gap. Another idea that might get fans excited is the idea that they get to go to the recent past and fill in some of the gaps between The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. After all, we only know some of what happened in that time period via flashbacks and the comics, but not all has been revealed. For example, we don't know who Zuko married, his daughter in the Fire Lord in Korra's time. We don't know the fates of certain other beloved Avatar characters like Suki, or what happened with her and Sokka for that matter. We saw the start of the rise of Republic City, but not all that happened after. We didn't see some of what happened with Aang and how he died. We know he died at age 60, but not much beyond that. And so, if they wanted to get the gang back together, a film about what happened between the two main series would be a good way to welcome everyone back to the universe. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the world of Avatar that might just be building in front of our very eyes? Do you think that some of the avatars we listed will be the ones to come forth via this bold new project? Do you honestly feel that they can keep this franchise running for many years this go-round? Would you rather see this universe fade away rather than burn out? What do you want to see from these new tales? Are there characters you can't wait to learn more about? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.